I didn't see who ended up getting the trophies for.
That's us.
Oh hell yeah! Who ended up getting the trophies in 3A though? It was Fort Dodge.
Hey, we're on the air right now.
I think so.
Okay.
Hey,
Hey, Gabe, did you guys get a trophy, Iowa City? Who are the top three?
Polk.
no, I don't think Polk was out.
Polk
No.
was second going into Saturday.
They fell off.
Bettendorf, right?
Yeah. Yep.
Dan Knight's son beat Ayala.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, Dan Knight's awesome.
In overtime.
There's Hardell.
It had. I can't think of who else would have got it. Because Linmar snuck up, Bettendorf.
We could probably just look it up on track. You guys want to do?
I'm testing my own skills. Like I'm trying to be like.
Saving mine for later. You got yours in early.
All right.
I did say. I said
'Cause-
Polk.
Yeah, but like I think Polk had to do a whole bunch of work on the backside because they were like in 6th. Yeah, first time that they haven't had a finalist for whatever since, well, I mean during all of Christensen's career, and then now Jake taking over. What's up, man? How are you?
Yeah, he's a switch. Hardell, you gotta give me one of them jackets, dog.
What's up, man?
Thank you.
There you go.
It's going in when we do our picks.
Oh, there you go. Oh yeah.
Okay. I figured.
We go down there all the time. We go down there all the time for. Yeah, been there forever. Oh yeah. Right.
You got your phone on silent?
Yeah, it's always on silent.
I didn't know. Is that why you never answer when I call?
I think it was like the last 2 times I've missed it. I'm like, bro, I'll call you back. I'm like, sir.
Hardell, I know we've met a few times. How you doing?
Hey.
Hey, I'm sending that email
Iowa wins all 10. Oh, I'm sorry.
Where's Shane at?
He's at the hotel. He's doing his shower and stuff like that. I had told him, I was like, I got to get here. I ran into, while I was late.
Hey, David. Might want to give our guest another beer.
I ran into, what was it? Ran into Shane Sparks at the hotel. That was why I was late. And, of course, we didn't have anything to talk about. Oh, I love that guy. I love that guy so much. He is, if you could bottle his, well, if he went to a blood bank, you'd have to test it for cocaine. He is just energy all the time. Probably shouldn't have said cocaine, but. Hey, I saw that. Hey, I got one disability joke in. I have another joke that I. 'Cause those are good pictures, for sure.
Hey, bud, can you get Randy another beer?
Thank you. We don't want you parched. What's up, Chris? Hey, this is the one time I gotta get the read right. There's no deal.
Right?
This is the one time you what?
I gotta get the read right. You know, like if I go, we're weighing in, like, if I do it wrong with the recording, we just, all right, cut, go again, you know?
I'll get it. I'll get it.
Here, hold on. Just, yeah. Okay, that's fine.
I'm the only guy that doesn't drink in this group.
You were dressed like perfectly neutral.
I just don't do tabs because I don't drink.
Don't do tabs? Like,
I don't drink, so
Yeah.
I don't ever have a tab. If I'm gonna buy somebody a drink, I just pay cash.
I get it.
The COVID year? Phil, I had an extra.
Here, keep here. There you go.
The COVID year where it was like, I got an extra seat, so Hardell tonight, he stayed at my house, and we're driving down there, and he goes, where do we park? And I don't ever, I always stay at the hotel. This year I did, he goes, you don't know where the hell to park in St. Louis. I'm like, we can park at Grant's Hotel. You don't have a car.
Hey, where did you park here?
Right on the meter.
Oh yeah, I parked at the parking ramp down
I
that way.
didn't put money in the meter.
Yeah, I would not on Sundays.
That jacket looks on mark.
Looks good, buddy.
Smooth, baby.
What is that? A medium?
Why would you go there? Seriously, it's a double X, dude. One day you'll grow into one.
Hey,
You young kids, you know, you're not.
I
You don't got the build yet for it.
no, I still only have about 9
See,
chest hair.
Randy and I got the build for double X's.
Yep.
We got the build for a double X jacket. A double X jacket. We had the build for it. I said these young guys, they haven't grown into it yet. They'll get there someday.
Yeah, I'm not man enough quite yet. I'm still in my adolescence.
And you know it's all on the shoulders. That's why we have to have such big jackets. Our shoulders are so big.
Hey, watch your feet. You might step in something.
You want me to keep going? I can do this all day long.
Until about 4 p.m. and then time to go to Village Inn, bud.
Are you gonna like read us in like in 30 seconds or something?
Hey, Hardell, you might want to leave when I do my picks. I'm just saying.
He go 10-0, all green.
No. I'm not doing that.
Hey, that's like last time. Like we out here fighting. Like,
Damn.
I got guessed at 34 last night. Clay Hudson, I said something that he goes, no, it's Clay. Panda, baby. We ain't slow. Give me 2 minutes. Hardell, when you come over here, I'll teach you how to use these headsets. I know it's your first time. What was the first year we did Perry? Was that 2017?
Is this okay here?
Yeah, perfect. Yeah, it's crazy, man.
So on this podcast, does it show our faces
Christina.
and stuff? Yeah. It shows.
Can you just have them give me
Okay.
another one so I have it?
Okay.
Yeah, it'll be like 6 seconds later. You'll see him run by. See?
Wait a minute. Is this me? Just tapping my head.
Delay like 10 seconds. Oh, full minute. Okay.
Oh, that's because of me. They know that I'm going to do some goofy stuff, so they need a full minute to check me. Okay.
I'm going hard. 20 seconds.
Thank you.
Knock out some push-ups real quick. this is all on the internet, right?
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to a very special live episode of Weighing In, brought to you by USA Wrestling, the national governing body for wrestling in the United States, and by Nike Wrestling. Go to athleteps.com. We are live from downtown Iowa City, Joe's Place. This place, Mark Ostrander, Grant Turner, and the man, Randy Lewis. Thanks for joining us, Randy.
Glad to be here.
Can we start with the pop socket game?
Yes, we can.
The last time I saw you had a palm tree. I thought you'd have like a Hawkeye.
I had a pink. I
or
had
like somebody
something
getting
pink.
pinned.
Well,
Explain the game here.
I leave my phone everywhere, and I need one that's noticeable to be mine. So I got a red phone with a black thing. There's so many black cases like this, I can't ever find my phone, and I grabbed the wrong one.
Gotcha.
So I put this. I made sure that I got something that's easy for me to keep track of.
Randy said the only reason he came on was because you were on GT. So
Hey, that's an honor.
That's long
I'll
arms.
do any
Long
podcast with
arms.
Randy Lewis for sure.
exactly. So you were telling me when you wrestled,
Oh, I'm supposed to look at the camera.
you weren't at Carver Hawkeye.
What's
you,
that?
You wrestled in the
I
field.
wrestled in the field house.
So what? Tell us about that.
That hold like 13,000 people, and it'd be packed for all our big matches like Oklahoma State, and we had some really good matches there. And I loved the crowd, and I loved the Iowa crowd. It was just great to wrestle in front of them, and had some wild matches there.
So when fans come in, or when like opposing teams come in, you hear about people getting carvered. You know, that like the atmosphere gets to them, they get tired, stuff like that. Did that happen back in the day when you were there? You see guys just like the atmosphere just get to them and they kind of wear out.
Well, I think they got tired when they wrestled me because I wrestled at a high pace, and I got tired too. But I think, it was. Some people wrestle better in front of crowds, and I loved crowds. I loved it. Ed Bannock and myself and Royce Alger. There's a lot of people that love the crowds, and that was a big decision to me to come to Iowa. As I knew that we had the best crowds in the country.
So I'm almost scared to ask, but with him, Alger, the Bannocks, like besides bingo and community service, how did you guys spend your weeknights and weekend nights?
Well, I did not spend them doing as much schoolwork as I should have done.
Okay. How many times did Gable get you out of trouble?
Oh, Gable never got me out of trouble. But I had a lot of fun back then.
You guys want to ask something?
Yeah, Randy, we're about the same age. How much has wrestling changed since you were wrestling? You watch these kids now wrestling, high school, college, international.
There are a lot. The kids now are a lot better as true freshmen coming out of high school because there's a lot more kids at every weight that have wrestled against the best guys in the nation and been going to camps and going to all sorts of national tournaments. They've got a lot more experience now by the time they're a freshman in college than in my day. I was one that my dad took me everywhere, and there was a few of us that got to travel around and wrestle in a bunch of national tournaments and go to camps. Like when I was in 6th grade, Terry McCann, who's a former two-time national champion, Olympic champion from Iowa. I was learning from him in 6th grade. Nowadays, there's way more kids that are getting Olympic champions and national champions, teaching them stuff when they're 6, 7, 8 years old. And there's so many more clubs that there are so many guys that are so ready. And so there's a lot more. Some of the great ones are still, back in my day, are as good as the best ones today, but there's way more depth, way more guys that are close to them today than there was back in my day.
Yeah. Well, I mean, absolutely. I think also on today, when we have like 2 historic programs with Oklahoma State and University of Iowa competing today, I think it's great to, basically go back through the history of when you were competing against Oklahoma State and then looking forward to the matches today. Just having those 2 programs be together again now in Carver, what's something that you're looking forward to today's duel, and what are your thoughts on kind of that history between the 2 programs? Well,
yeah, I think Iowa and Oklahoma State have the 2 most NCAA titles. Oklahoma State had a lot. They've always had the great fans, and it's just going to be a barn burner today.
Absolutely.
I know you follow, wrestling in a big picture at the World Cup, all those kind of things. How much do you see like the guys wrestling today and the way the style is helping transition into freestyle? You were obviously an Olympic champion.
What was that? Repeat that question.
When you're watching folk style now, it's a little bit different with a lot of the passovers and stuff like that. How much do you see some of these kids being able to transition to that Olympic level like you did?
Well, we've got all sorts of guys that are doing real good in the Olympics right now. David Taylor, Snyder,
Jaden, all those Gilman,
Gable Stevenson.
Yeah.
There's to me, it was a very easy transition to wrestle folk style and freestyle. There wasn't much difference to me. I was wanting to put people on their back. And I don't think it's that. It's not very. It's not very hard to make the transition. The great wrestlers in collegiate style usually, unless you're not very good on your feet, and you're only good on top or in riding or something like that. The guys today, they've wrestled so much, and for me, it's like, how long did it take for me to make the transition from freestyle to collegiately, or if you wrestled 5-second walk to the center, I could know which it wasn't very much different to me.
I know you got to leave and get to an autograph session. I know you're wanted, but I just want to know, there's a lot of guys that sort of wrestle backwards. Like once they get a lead, they shut it down. You were a guy always going for broke, winner, head or behind. Where did you get that philosophy, and would you like to see that more in today's wrestling?
Yes, I would. And I, when I was a sophomore in high school, I was 29-0 with 29 pins, and I set the national record with 45 pins. And I was from South Dakota, and I had a little chip in my shoulder because people say, well, he's pinning those guys he's from South Dakota. Well, I wrestled some guys from 3 or 4 time state champs from Iowa and did pretty good, pinned them, and I was pinning national champs and world champions, and so I felt like I'm supposed to pin everybody, and my goal was when in national finals I wanted to pin everybody. Bruce Kinseth, my good friend, pinned his way through Big Tens and Nationals. Gable pinned everybody at Nationals, and I'm going to tell you something that Ed Bannock said after he won his in a speech. He said after he won Nationals as a freshman, he said, my goal this year as a sophomore, he goes, I'm going to pin everybody I wrestle. Then my junior year, I'm going to pin everybody I wrestle in the first and second period. In my senior year, I'm going to pin everybody in the first period. And I went and spoke after him, and I'd won my second national title then, and it was my senior year, and I said, well, my goal is to pin more guys, to get more pins than Ed Bannock this year, so I'm going to have to pin everybody I get, plus I got to draw a pigtail at Nationals. So that was my goal.
I'm going to Northern Plains. I'm going off the ranch, going to Northern Plains, getting 6 more pins.
Ed Bannock and I, we used to, before our home duels, we'd get everybody would throw in $1 for the fastest pin. And so you'd win $10, and then, of course, you had to buy the first 2 pitchers of beer when you did that. And so, anyways,
It's a community $10.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
but I remember in the All-Star meet, I moved up a weight, and I'm wrestling Darryl Burley, who was defending national champ at 134, and I won at 126. And it was in Iowa City, and Ed Bannick and I wanted to get a pin pot going, and nobody else wanted to throw in $1. But I did get a pin. I pinned Burley in the All-Star meet, and Ed Bannick did pay the $1.
The rest of us
good.
just trying to get selected for the All-Star meet. These dudes got pin pots going.
Right. I would have lost like $100 in my collegiate career. Like,
when I was in the national finals, I expected to pin, and I won 20-14 against John Azevedo, and I woke up, darn it, I didn't pin him. You know,
He was a great wrestler.
What's that?
He was a great wrestler.
Yeah, he was
too.
120 and 2 wins over 3 years.
Yeah.
Wow.
So he only had 2
D1,
losses.
D2, that he was Bakersfield where they could.
Yeah.
Yeah, him and Joe Gonzalez.
Yep. They were very good.
Well,
Randy, do you want to pick the score of today's duel for us?
No. I haven't really looked at the lineups. I haven't seen enough of it this year, so I'm not sure. I want there to be some great matches and excite the crowd, and I'm pretty sure there will be.
I appreciate you always finding time for me at World Cup over there at Coralville, and always pulling up an extra chair. And I appreciate you coming on today. I know you got to get moving, but thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thanks for having me.
Appreciate you, Randy.
Thanks, Randy.
All right. We're going to get my partner in crime on here next whenever he wants to stroll over. So this is the guy that I started all this microphone stuff with, like not the podcast, but the play-by-plays, like 6 years ago. So, and then we're going to have another guest, then we're going to break these duels down. And I don't think Mark doesn't have the herky head today, so we'll see how that goes. But
That's all right. You can definitely do that.
we got with us now the voice of Oklahoma State Wrestling. Also, if you're making sure, this is the first time he's ever worn a headset.
Man, I'm telling you, man.
So we'll see how that goes.
I don't know what I'm doing over here.
So my good friend, USA Wrestling Developmental Coach of the Year, 2-time All-American, national finalist, Hardell Moore. Thanks for coming on, man. Good to see you.
What up, man? Good to be here. Good to be here. Good to be here. How you guys doing?
Doing great, bud. Doing great.
Mark, GT is agnostic because both schools are Nike. Mark's from Des Moines.
Yeah.
So we'll see how hostile this gets.
Yeah,
It's
man.
not going to
Listen,
get hostile.
It's not hostile.
Hardell, now
Yes.
let's go back a little bit. You wrestled for Oklahoma State.
I wrestled for Oklahoma State, redshirted in 93, wrestled 158, 94 to 98. So as I was telling Mr. Arnold over here, I had Alan Freed, Pat Smith, Mark Branch, and J.J. McGrew as my workout partner. So I really had nowhere to hide.
Okay, how many times did you get to wrestle here at Carver?
See. I think it was twice. I wrestled Weber here once, and then my senior year. Now, back then, we had national duels, so we'd wrestle Iowa a lot at national duels.
Sure.
And that's where, in all due respect, I wrestled Joe a lot then, was at national duels and NCAAs.
Joe Williams.
Joe Williams.
Yeah.
But the two duels here was Darryl Weber 1 year, and I think like Gabe McMahon my senior year here.
So what was it like for people that don't understand? What was it like walking out with 16,000 fans yelling and screaming when you got a big duel like that?
Well, you brought up the point earlier to Randy, right? Like,
Yep.
So prime example. I'm here. I've experienced Carver Hawkeye. I brought my son with me. I brought one of my buddies with me and his son as well. They've never seen it, right? So to experience that, and I'll be honest with you, when I first got here and wrestled my first year here as a sophomore, I pulled Coach to the side. I was like, man, is this mat regulation? this ain't the same size wrestling mat that I'm accustomed to.
Right.
There's some different borders on this thing. This is a 52 by 52. I'm not for sure. But just chuckled about it. But, in all due respect, right, having 15,000 fans, and my senior year there was 14,900 some odd fans and probably 10 fans of Oklahoma State. right? And I understand I'm in the enemy territory. I'm repping my orange, and I'm throwing my pokes up. And I've got some looks, but that's the joy of it, right?
Yeah.
That's the beautiful part of it. But if you're not careful, because in all due respect, we did have some wrestlers that got carvered a little bit when they first got here and seen it, because it can, if you're not used to it and get out there and smell it and breathe it a little bit, it can get you. But it's a great atmosphere to wrestle in front of, for sure, no doubt. And that's coming from somebody that obviously is a competitor to Iowa, right? But you got your Wild fans anywhere, but overall, they understand wrestling, right? If somebody escapes and doesn't give up a major, that's an applause, because they understand the sport. They understand what's going on, and that's a beautiful part, right? I love seeing that stuff, whether it's here in Iowa, here in Stillwater, or wherever else we're wrestling. It's good fans.
So we want to congratulate you. GT and I were watching the Oklahoma State-Mizzou duel and texting, and this is the first year you took over for Leroy as the color commentator with Jay Carl.
Yes, first year to do it, and it just kind of happened to, I'm not going to necessarily say fall in my hands, but I asked the right questions at the right time, right?
Closed mouths don't get fed.
Closed mouths don't get fed, right? You got to go ask, right? So I did ask the chance, and thank you guys for those kind words, but I asked Leroy, I was like, hey, man, if there's ever a duel you cannot make, let me know. I want to do that. And he was like, really? I said, yes. He said, I will be in touch. I said, perfect. So one thing led to another.
How about now?
Yeah, I kept putting the bug in his ear when I would see him. And then also I put the bug in Coach's ear as well, just because I'm tied to the program. I'm an alumnus for the program. I want to see my program do well. And I know a lot of kids on the program and parents that are invested into the program as well. So for me to get the opportunity to do that this year, it was a blessing. Obviously, you and I have cut our teeth in many different things that we've done before. So that has given me a lot of experience going forward in that. And once I get on that microphone, like I said, yes, I'm repping O State today because I'm not on air anywhere and I don't have to talk about anything. I just got to root for my guys to win.
Hardell's like Orange Superman. You know, I get something orange underneath there.
Hey,
exactly.
it looks good on me, man. Don't make me stand up, take my shirt off. But in all due respect, when I get on that microphone, if that other team is doing something better than our wrestler at that time, I'll acknowledge that. I'm not going to degrade any wrestler, whether they're from either school. It's going to be some good positive reinforcement, positive energy, and we keep on moving to the next. But I loved it. I had a blast doing it.
And you've had so many of the kids come through the OWA program. Like last night, I got to visit with Chris and Christina Young. They talked about your experience with Carter at Fargo.
Yeah.
I know G came through your program.
Yeah.
I know Plott.
Yep. Doucette. Dayton's trained with it. But it's situations like that, what you're talking about with someone like a Carter Young and a G and all those guys that you mentioned, like you get to know them from when they're young and can't walk in a straight line and they're so super clumsy and they've got two left feet and all that stuff. And then you see them continue to develop into the young men that they are, right? And sometimes it's more important of what they're doing off the mat and how they're carrying themselves off the mat than what they're doing on the mat. But it all works hand in hand. And to see them to get a chance to get a scholarship, wrestle on, whether it's D1 level, just go to college and wrestle or whatever the case may be. But then also in the back of your mind, you talk to them a little bit, and they're starting to game plan for what's after wrestling.
Yeah,
right?
get ready for life.
That's key, right? And that's the goal that I try to teach to my kids, more importantly, my parents, that everybody's not going to wrestle forever. Everybody's not going to be world team or Olympic champs or whatever the case may be. Wrestling's going to teach you life lessons, but be prepared after that. And getting a chance to coach these kids and watch them develop, and then you get a chance to be there mat side and watch them fight and grit and all that stuff, and I'm pushing and pulling people. That's a joy, right? And you just do nothing but you love on them when they need to be loved on, and you kick them in the tail when they need to be kicked in the tail, man. And I'm just blessed that I get a chance to do that for a lot of these young men that are at Oklahoma State right now and some other places.
Well, the one duel we did at Junior Duels, Oklahoma was wrestling Illinois.
Yeah.
And this is Luke Serber at 160 pounds.
160
and people that
pounds.
don't know, Junior Duels, it starts at a weight class and it rotates. So I think the next weight class is 170 in freestyle, but Serber's the last match, and he has to win by a pin or a tech fall shutout.
Right.
So, folks, you guys have watched the Big 12s. Hardell's as good as it gets. I'm going to give you an extremely unprofessional moment that while I was trying – with the fact that I'm the most responsible person in the room says a lot about how bad it was.
Yeah, I kind of lost my cool a little bit.
Serber gets a he wrestled Fidel Mayora.
Yeah.
Now, Fidel Mayora is wrestling 149 now, and Serber's wrestling 197.
Yes.
By the way, Serber's dad could be the Marlboro Man. I think that's a real thing. Like,
Matt Serber.
I told him I wanted to buy like a leather duster jacket from him just when I saw him at Hall of Fame duels. So, Serber, I don't remember the exact sequence, but he's up like 4-0.
Yeah.
Then he gets a takedown. Then he gets that lace, the hop over lace.
Yep.
Gets it once 8, and then he's at that tipping point. You and Guerrero are already high-fiving each other.
Yeah.
I'm in the middle, elbows.
Yeah. Well, it was a duel against Illinois, right? And Illinois was on a heck of a run there for a while,
Yeah.
right? And in all due respect, right now, Iowa's on a heck of a run right now on the cadet and junior level, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, and Illinois was just wiping out everything on both levels. And he had, like you said earlier, David, he had to shut him out 10-0, got that last takedown. And at that point, I mean, I'm a fan, no doubt, but then at
Those
that
are your
point,
kids.
at
Those are your
that
guys,
point,
yeah.
those are my kids, and the state of Oklahoma came out in that sense, right? Just kind of doing one of these and high-fiving and stuff like that, you know. We weren't on camera, obviously. It was just our voices.
No, we were.
We were?
Because the thing was shot across.
Okay, I take everything back.
fine.
Now, I'm still
I
going to
filed assault charges.
you can file them. I got $2 in my pocket. But it was just a fun atmosphere to be a part of. And those kids have been together for a long time, just like anybody. You know what I'm saying?
cool.
But that was very, very cool, for sure.
So you've obviously done all the play-by-play this year. So I think as soon as I knew you were coming, I want you to come on because you're awesome on camera and we're friends.
Yeah.
But you've actually watched Oklahoma State a bunch
Right.
this year.
Yes.
And from the outside, it seems like they were struggling in the beginning of the year, and they got
Yes.
several guys that are wrestling
Well,
as well as they've wrestled all
yes,
year.
right.
Carter Young with some big
Yep,
wins.
yep.
Serber beating Elam.
Yep.
Whitlake feels like he's grown into the weight a little bit.
Right.
Is that right? And then how do you see the matchups going today?
So to answer your first question, one of the key words that Coach Smith used earlier this year was development, right? And he's mentioned this in many interviews that he hasn't had a team like this before. As far as at the beginning of the season, you had someone that was number 2 and someone else that was number 4. Usually there's some higher ranked people, right? This year we were kind of spread out from everywhere, from 2 to 25 to 33 to honorable mention. And his key word was development. And they have developed, right? From the first part of the season to where they're at now. Lost a close duel to Minnesota early in the season. Things didn't go their way here and there. But to come back and beat a UNI, Missouri on criteria, battled Iowa State tough going down into the heavyweight match, in all due respect, right? And then some guys getting some key wins, you know, such as a Carter Young, such as a Whitlake, such as even Wyatt Sheets, right? Wyatt Sheets has had a month from I don't know where.
So I heard this. He wrestled Shane Griffith, David Carr, and Keegan O'Toole, probably in the wrong order, but back to back to back.
Back to back to back, and then you also got to throw in there, he wrestled Yant from UNI that he ended up pinning as well, right? So
he basically won him that duel.
He won him that duel, right? That was a big duel, right? Carter had a major decision, I think, against Happel early in that match. But, you know, these guys, they have definitely developed from where they were to where they're at now. And they're wrestling extremely well, right? You know, I know my boy D. Plot hit a little slump there a little while, but looked good in the Bedlam duel, right?
Yeah, looked good.
You know, your 141-pound matchup between Schwartz and Young. I mentioned that on the broadcast. Both of those guys have been on fire the past month.
Schwartz had a
great month,
going into
right?
that duel,
He had a great month, right? And then for Carter to beat Schwartz in that manner, really controlling the match, like, that's good to see. And as a whole of it's good to see. The main goal today is go out and fight. Yes, we are undermanned or outranked, let's put it that way, in a lot of matchups, right? But in all due respect, you still got to go wrestle. And this crowd will be amped. They're going to be hyped. They're going to be ready to go because they got that 125-pounder. This is his last time in Carver, and they're going to be ready to go. And even as a fan, like, that's exciting for me.
Yeah.
Right? Because I know what this young man has done for the sport, what he's done for the University of Iowa, but more importantly, what type of young man he is. You know what I'm saying?
No, he's an awesome
that's
human
fun
being,
for me. So there's going to be some dog fights. I think there's a couple of matches that we may be, quote unquote, ranked higher than them, but these dudes ain't going to back down, and O State ain't going to back down.
So is there one match you're really looking forward to over over the others.
Ooh, Lord, that's
I mean,
a hard
based on
one.
who's in attendance, you might say 141. I don't know.
41's a good one. Well, because in all due respect, you can't have 141. Almost in all due respect, you got 2 new rankings had come out. Carter was 15. He just beat the 7 guy, so he may be top 10 in all due respect, right? I don't know what that is.
We beat Hart and Schwartz.
Yeah, beat Hart and
Yeah,
Schwartz.
yeah.
So that's one, obviously. I'm always wanting. I think Plott and Brands will be another one, right? In all due respect, I think that'll be another one as well. I'm interested also at 97 with Serber and Warner. I don't think those guys have ever met, but there's going to be a lot of good matchups out there. I'll tell you another one I am interested in, too, 57.
Siebrecht and G.
57.
Yep.
That's going to be an interesting matchup because them dudes,
They're ranked 10 and 11.
They're ranked 10 and 11. Caution can throw to the wind. Longer body type, short, stocky body type, and dudes try to put points on the board. So what is that, 3 or 4 that I just mentioned?
Let's get picks. Let's get Hardell's picks.
Oh, Lord. Don't give me
we'll
my
just
picks.
go. Hey,
What you going to give me? Go ahead.
25. Iowa.
Iowa.
33. Oklahoma State. 41.
Paper, Iowa. I'm going to go young.
49.
49.
Murin and Voinovich.
Man, they wrestle so much alike. They're almost the same. I'm going to go probably Murin just in a dogfight.
57. Your boy and
G.
Siebrecht.
I'll go G.
65. Sheets and Kennedy.
I'll go Sheets.
74 is Brands and Plott.
Yep.
I'm going to go Plott.
84 is Whitlake and
See,
Assad.
that's another good one. That's a toss-up match, but obviously I'm wearing this orange. I'm going to go Whitlake.
97 Serber.
The wheels have fallen off on this.
That's
All of
gonna
a sudden,
be good
like-
one. What's the rankings there? 4 and what?
Serber and
Serber's got to be in the top 10.
Serber and Warner. Warner's 12 and Serber's 16. I know what you're going to do. Go ahead.
I'm going O-State, man. Y'all better leave me alone. Y'all trying to get me in trouble over here. I'll go heavyweight Iowa, though.
7-3. You got a 7-3 Oklahoma
Why not,
State.
man? Why
Let's
not roll
go.
my Cowboys? Why
Let's
not?
roll.
I'm here. I'm here.
Town
Why not?
town might burn down if that
Hey,
happens.
dude, y'all try. Yeah, listen. Y'all trying to get people to throw darts at me back at home. Y'all crazy.
Not a chance.
Gee, y'all nuts.
So,
Y'all better
listen,
leave me
man,
alone with that stuff.
I'm proud of you. You did a great job this year.
Thank you.
I'm going to see you in 6 days.
Is it 6 days?
Oklahoma State Finals.
That is right. Yeah. That
Yeah.
is right. That is right.
You
That
brought
is
in
right.
your token Missouri guy. Appreciate
That
it.
is right. Well, shout out to Wes Ruth.
Yeah,
Right? Shout out to
yeah.
Wes Ruth. We get a chance to do that.
OSSAA man.
OSSAA man. Get a chance to stream those. But, excited about the duel. That's why you got to go wrestle these matches. Anything can happen on any given Saturday, Sunday, Friday, Thursday, whatever day it is. And it's going to be fun. It's going to be a great environment as usual. And like I said, I think there's probably maybe 30, 35 Oklahoma State fans here, which has always been the case, right? My senior year, I think everybody was sitting behind the bench. And I remember, you guys were talking about being Carvered and the different things like that. It came down to our heavyweight match. Ben Lee won in sudden victory. It was just a simple flip back then. And I remember Coach Smith told us, he goes, whatever happens at the end of this match, whether we win or we lose, we don't shake hands, we get straight to the locker room because it was getting rowdy back there, man. It was getting so rowdy, but it was fun, right? It was so
Keck and I got hit by a stray water bottle after sitting on the floor.
Yeah. So it's good stuff, right? And I know a lot of O-State fans will be watching on the Big Ten. A few will be here, and let's go wrestle. Let's go fight and have some fun.
He's got it 21. I'm assuming you're going to give bonus.
Yeah, y'all ain't getting me in trouble, dog.
21-12.
Y'all are not
Oklahoma
doing
State.
it. Not ashamed, dude. Not ashamed. Why not? You got to rep your boys, man.
I'll see you in
All
6
right, see
days.
y'all,
Thanks
man.
for coming on.
Appreciate it. Thank you,
Thanks,
guys.
Hardell.
Yep.
Thanks, Hardell.
Yep.
All right. We got one more guest, then we're going to make picks. So apparently there was a state tournament here last night.
Absolutely.
Apparently.
Was there some good wrestling? There's good wrestling in high school wrestling in Iowa, right?
Not bad.
It's not Missouri, but it's not bad, right?
Oh,
I couldn't even get out this
Yeah, you
straight
could.
It's not Missouri. I know that.
For sure it's not.
So
I think I would have went out for basketball.
I think we
Missouri.
got the start of the show from last night. So, but he does have Missouri roots.
Okay.
Okay. And a lot of people thought he was going to go to a different black and gold school. Okay. So Gabe, and he did his announcement on USA Wrestling. So Gabe Arnold, congratulations on last night.
So much, thank you.
Yeah. So how hard is it to beat a really good guy 4 times?
It was extremely tough, but I mean, more than anything, it was just a mindset thing, and I just went out there and got the job done. I knew what I wanted to do, I knew the goal. It was simple, it was plain, and I accomplished it. So
Mark asked a question off air that I want you to ask about the difference in the tournaments.
Yeah, I was just wondering everybody says the Iowa State tournament's one of the neatest events that you'll ever go to. It's just amazing. And I wrestled in Iowa. Grant wrestled in Iowa. I don't know, David wrestled at Iowa State, which is a little different. But I was just wondering. Yeah, David.
So did Grant.
I was just wondering, was the experience everything you thought it would be?
Absolutely. It was everything I thought it would be and then some. I think before I even got there, I walked into the tournament for the finals, and I went and got my ankles taped, and then we were doing the Grand March, and I didn't really have an idea of how many people were going to be out there. And we're out there, and we're doing the Grand March, and I look out, and I look up, and I look around, and I'm like, holy crap. Like, stands are packed to the brim. Like, people are already screaming, and matches haven't even started yet. Like, no whistles have been blown yet. It's just kids walking on the mat, just getting recognized for placing and being in the finals. So, I mean, just seeing that, I was just like, oh, my God. I was like, we're in it. We're in it right now, and it was time to do something. So I did something about it.
Now, you wrestled national preps for 3 years?
Yes, sir.
Okay. I know the state tournament early on, the competition isn't going to be near as strong as the national preps, but did you feel that this year prepared you to go to the University of Iowa next year?
Absolutely. I mean, even though it wasn't necessarily wrestling a ranked guy every weekend, I still was having to keep my tools sharp to wrestle Tate every weekend because, I mean, I find it harder to wrestle the same guy at the same caliber that Tate is on, 4 times almost in a row, like it was basically maybe a month and a half in between matches. So, I mean, not a lot of time to really make, huge jumps and huge adjustments per se. So, I mean, I find that a lot harder than wrestling a different ranked guy every week, and wrestling a guy like Tate who has great coaches like he does, it takes a lot. A lot goes into that, a lot of preparation, a lot of mindset, and I don't think a lot of it didn't come down to skill. It just came down to want, and I wanted it more the whole year. So I definitely think it has prepared me for that because, in the Big Ten, I'm going to be wrestling these duels, and then I'm going to see these guys again at the Big Ten Conference Tournament, and then I'll possibly see these guys again at NCAAs, So it's just preparing me for that next level, and that's all these, high school tournament, high school matches, that's all they were, preparing me for the next level. And when I'm in college, all those college tournaments and college nationals and college matches, all it's doing is preparing me for the next level. So,
okay.
How much, I mean, we talk about maybe the National Prep Sem schedule versus Iowa City's, but there's also a different situation. You're part of the RTC here, so the training situation is different. And you're related to a pretty good guy, which we'll get to in a minute, because I actually shot that film when you were like 12 up at the Olympic Training Center. But let's start with the RTC. What's that like to work out with, for just to be like you can go in and legally train with these guys and get guys that can put it on you if you're not having a good day?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's super cool. Not even just, the guys who are under the HWC and still competing, but Ryan Morningstar kicks my teeth in almost every morning, and it's not a pleasant thing, and he's just having, being able to have those guys as a resource as early as possible, it's put me to the next level, and it's preparing me for next year more than anything. And I've said that a lot, but that's all moving up here was to prepare me for being a 2024 national champion, and that's the goal, So whatever I needed to do to get to that level next year, that's what I did, and that's the main reason why I moved up here. So being a part of the HWC has been, a huge help. Having all those guys in the room, getting my teeth kicked in on some days, some days kicking teeth in, just having those highs and lows in the practice room really prepared me for those big matches. So.
Had you been to a home Iowa duel before this year?
No, I have. So last year, actually.
On recruiting visit last year?
No. Actually, when I came on my recruiting visit, I came for the Iowa Penn State football game. So that was a whole nother experience. And then I actually ended up getting injured last year. I had a season-ending knee injury. And, I was just kind of stuck in my room, really down. And so my dad was, looking at tickets one day, and he was like, well, how about we go to an Iowa duel? And I was like, well, heck yeah, let's do it. So, we figured it out somehow, some way. I got on a plane. I think I was supposed to fly out of Kingston, but something happened, and then somehow my mom figured out a flight for me to fly out of Pittsburgh. And one of my coaches, Will Weber, drove me all the way to Pittsburgh from Sim, and we made it work. I got on the plane, got to watch the Iowa-Wisconsin duel, which was crazy. you know, people going back and forth with Bono. And, you know, it was just
Yeah,
it was
Brance
crazy.
and Bono are good friends.
That's a character battle right there. Like that's like college wrestling, like coaches in each
Alpha,
corner. Like,
exactly.
oh my gosh.
Alpha.
Exactly.
Like,
so,
I think Terry probably took off a shoe. Like,
started folding it back
Right,
and
it's like-
forth. But yeah, no, it was great, and you know, being a part of that experience and that atmosphere was just like, wow, you know. And by that time, I was already committed. I was already 110% in, and watching that was like, yeah, I made the right decision because I perform the best when I'm under the lights, and I got all the eyes on me, you know. And being wrestling in Carver Hawkeye Arena, that's exactly what I'm gonna get. So you know, that's what I'm ready for.
What's next?
Well,
Trying to make some world teams?
Yeah, try to make some world teams, you know. But I don't think try isn't the word. Try isn't the word. You know, try is an excuse for failure.
We
So,
go through
you
the
know,
process.
Yeah, I'm going to go through the process, and I'm going to make a world team. You know, it's as simple
Are you
and
under
as plain as that.
17s or under 20s?
Nope, I'm U20 now, so I'm
Okay.
a junior. I'm a big boy now.
So what's a weight class there?
So probably going to end up going 79 kilos just because
174.
174 and some change, I think.
yeah.
But going to go there. I mean, I've been underweight for 182 all year. I mean, my coaches have been barking at me all week trying to get up to 82. They're like, "What'd you eat today?" I was like, I didn't eat breakfast. They're like, "Well, what do you weigh?" Step on the scale. I have to make 184. I'm like, yeah, I'm like 181. They're like, well, you need to eat some food. And I'm like, dude, I'm not hungry. Like, I can't eat anymore.
There you go.
So, you know, I've been just trying to keep my weight, you know, high enough to where I'm not super undersized for 82, but at the same time keeping in mind that for the summer I'm going to be wrestling 174 or 79 kilos. So, you know, yeah, that's the plan as of now, and I don't think my mind's going to change anytime soon. So.
No, that's awesome. I know you guys. I owe you and your dad a picture and lunch, so don't leave. We'll be done in about 25 minutes. I really appreciate it when you came on and we did Matt Chat with your announcement.
Yes, sir.
And I appreciate you being the next generation of short, really, really, really good-looking guys. winning matches.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me
Thanks a
on,
lot,
dude.
man.
Thanks, Gabe.
All right, we're going to get to picks. So I got wrestle stats printed off. I don't think I need to go through Spencer Lee to point out that he's really good. But looking at this, he does have the sort of the gauntlet he's run here since January 8th. He's beaten Ramos, DiAugustino, Cronin, Barnett, McKee, Medley. And Whitcraft was a 33-pounder and has came down, and he only really has 2 or 3 matches there. So we're going to end up doing our summaries. I guess we'll do it as we go. So we'll just rotate. You got Spencer by
Fall.
We'll take Spencer by fall, especially like inside Carver last time. I think he's going to try extremely hard to like cement his Carver legacy there a little bit.
Yeah, I agree. Okay. Hardell's got Whitcraft winning by decision.
Hey,
I'm here for all the juice. Okay. 133. So Teskey, he has lost RBY. And, I mean, he only has like 7 matches. So it's going to be interesting, too. He's not going to probably get an AQ position. So he's going to have to steal one. We could get in that whole conversation. But his best win on the year is Taylor Lamont. So he's wrestled the best guy and a bunch of guys that aren't very good. And Dayton has a ton of matches. Connor Brown, really good match against Ragusin that Hardell was on the mic for at the down in the ballpark. You were there for that.
Yep.
Beat Nagao, beat Henson twice, beat Chance Rich, beat Redding. OSU has to have this match, right? So
Yeah.
So you've got fixed by.
I mean, once again, Teskey's a Big 12 champ, so that why I'm going to say Dayton by major decision, because I think Teskey can wrestle and scrap really well and keep it close, but I think Dayton's just a little bit too much for him.
I'm going to go same thing, major. So
I'm going to go Dayton by a decision. I think Teskey will keep it within 4 or 5 points. I think he'll try to ride Dayton, and Dayton has struggled in the past getting out, especially against guys like RBY, but everybody does. You got to remember, Dayton's been in the finals of the national tournament every year he's wrestled in it.
Right.
So, I mean, he is premier at that weight.
So you've got it 6'3", and we have it 6'4" so far.
Yep.
All right, 41. Real Woods. So he wrestled Swiderski early in the year, and then he's had kind of a good little run here. He beat Tal Shahar, beat Brock Hardy, beat Zargo, beat Bartlett, beat Jake Berglund. And Carter Young, so he's one of the guys that we talked about this year that's had, had a rough start, lost in the Bucknell duel, lost in the Wyoming duel, lost to Moses Schwartz in the first Bedlam. Talk about development. The first Bedlam, we were together in Iowa. We were in Coralville.
Yep.
What is that, like 10 minutes from here?
Yeah.
And it came down to the last match, and then they just won the second one 26-6. And then the ship has really been righted, especially after Scuffle. He lost to Casimir and Aliras, but then beats Jordan Titus, who had some big wins, beats Happel, who had some big wins, shuts out Swiderski, beats Alan Hart in a really smart match, lost to Carlson, and then beat Miranda, and then in Bedlam beat Schwartz.
Yep.
So I'm taking Carter Young.
Attaboy.
I'm taking Carter Young, and here's how he's going to do it. 1 takedown, 2-1, picks neutral. Real Woods gets another escape, 2-2. Carter Young sneaks him on the edge, 4-2 in overtime. Yeah, I know you're not.
The details. Attaboy. I love it. Going right down to the overtime takedown on the edge.
I'm either going to be really right or really wrong.
Yeah, you will be really, really wrong. I'm going to take Real Woods by a major decision. I think he turns him.
Okay.
I think he's just gotten that much better, and he looks better every week he goes out. So I think he's starting to hit his peak. I think he's going to be really, really difficult for Oklahoma State today.
Well, I think both these guys are wrestling really well right now.
Yeah.
I think they're both kind of in that postseason grind where they're about ready to get into their conference championships, and I think this duel really puts them in that, in that frame of mind. But I'll take Real Woods by a decision, but I think that both Carter and Real are both at their peaks for the season and how they've been preparing. So it'll be a great match. I think it'll be one of those classic matches just because I think that they're going to be really close.
Yeah, and, Carter's a kid that, made the senior third in the U.S. Open as a high school kid. So we have to keep track of our own team scores because normally I'm writing these down. So you have it. You keep track. You're at 10-3.
Sure.
Did you have Fix only winning by decision, right?
Yes.
You have it 9-4.
Yeah.
And I have it 7-6 Oklahoma State. All right. 49, Murin. So Murin's got 2 losses this year. He lost to 3 losses. He lost to Pinheiro in the opener, lost to Yaya, lost to Gomez. He's got his best win is probably Van Ness. He beat Blockus, so kind of interesting. He's been in the round of 12 several times, right?
Yep.
Vojinovic is a guy you were really high on early in the year.
Really impressed early in the year.
He came back and beat that Manzona Bryan in the Lehigh duel. Got thrown to his back 6-0, comes back and wins 15-13. He's lost to Blockus, lost to Mitch Moore the first time, flipped that match the last time. But he lost to Colin Real Budo, he lost to Pinheiro, lost to Mahler. He's actually lost 4 out of his last 6 to really good guys, though. He lost to Real Budo, Pinheiro, Mahler, and Jaden Abbas. So we're at 49. You're first.
Yeah, I agree with Hardell. I think they both wrestle a lot alike. I just think Murin's going to be a little bit more, seasoned. He's a 6-year senior. It's his last match at Iowa. I think he's going to really push the pace. He does anyway. So I'm going to take Max with the decision.
So what's your team score now?
13-3.
13-3. Who you got?
I'm taking Murin by decision.
So where are you at now?
I'm totaling it up right now.
Okay. And I'm going to take Murin as well. So I've got it 9-7 Iowa.
I got it, I think, 12-4. 12-4 Iowa so far.
Whenever you talk to GT on the phone, it's hold, please. Hold, please. So
I'm hold, please.
Hold, please.
Working
we're
on
efforting
this.
and buffering.
Exactly.
All right, so this might be the most competitive match of the night, 157 in terms of ranking. Kobe Seabrick against Caden Gfeller. So Seabrick's a guy, we talked to Jimmy Rollins, he talked about how much he just loves how he wrestles. He has 3 losses. He lost to Mikey Carr, Peyton Robb, Levi Haynes in a really good 3-2 one takedown match at Penn State. If there's such a thing as a good loss, that was it. He kind of came on the scene when he beat Kreiser in the duel, or Kreiser 10-2, got that big body lock for 6. And then he's beaten Chumbley, who's legit, Garrett Model, who's legit, Braden Lee, who's legit. And then he beat Will Lewan in the most recent duel, 1-1, typical Will Lewan match. Will Lewan's going behind, does that cartwheel, keeps wrestling his way out of it. Place goes nuts. But those are the kind of matches today are what coaches go keep wrestling through the position, through the situation. And second of all, gives you a ton of confidence. And then G, he lost the first match here to Josh Humphreys. And then he lost to, this was a weird loss. He lost to 2 kids from Stanford, which are frankly not very good losses for him. He lost to Holschlag, and he lost to Will Lewan, so that's the one common opponent they have. But he beat Jake Hughes, which is a really good win. He beat Vinny Zerbin, beat Jacob Butler. So you're first here. Who you got?
I got G. Feller by decision. I watched G. Feller wrestle Luan at the bout of the ballpark. Then I also watched the Seabrook match with Will as well. I think they're both. I think this could be like a 12-10 match, but I think G. Feller will get him.
I'm going to go with G, just sort of the old wise sage here. I'm pulling the odds trainer last year where Iowa won every toss-up against Penn State. So what do you have it now, 12-7?
12-7.
And I have it, that'll make it 10-9. I have it 10-9, Oklahoma State. Mark, you got G. Feller by fall, right?
No. G. Feller will not win this match.
Okay.
I don't. He's going to get Carver. It doesn't happen to everybody, but I've seen him run out of gas more than once. I think he's a great athlete. I think he's, had a really good year. He's struggled a little bit early, but he's up a weight from what he's used to be a wrestler. I watched him wrestle Max Murin last year at the ballpark, and he got tired at the end. And he's going to have to go really, really hard. And this being the last duel of the year for the Iowa Hawkeyes, I think they're going to put pressure on him. So I'm going to take Iowa there by a regular decision. But I think it will be a good match.
So you have it 100-4.
No, I have it 16-4, David.
3. You only had to.
Yeah, I didn't give him a major.
All right, so Patrick Kennedy, he's ranked number 8 in the composite rankings. He has 2 losses this year. He lost to Carr, which that loss looks better and better by the day after the Keegan O'Toole match, and lost to Hamidi. Okay, and he's also beaten Danny Bronigal, Max Mayfield, Bubba Wilson. He beat Facundo, which was a big win, especially in hostile territory, right? And that kept them in that duel for the time being. It was right off the intermission. And then we got Sheets, who had that magical run at Nationals one year as the 33 seed, really the 34 seed.
Yeah, because he wasn't even in the bracket and then got pulled in.
Got pulled in and took 8th. And he has losses to Andrew Sparks, Garrett Ninehouse, Cale Carlson, Olgan Ogasanya, Fernandez, Peyton Hall, David Carr, Keegan O'Toole, Shane Griffith, but he beat Tanner Cook and he beat Yant, and he won. That was the match to win the duel for them, basically, that you and I won. So I think you guys see where this is going. Somebody has to be the contrarian. So I'm going to take the provost, Wyatt Sheets.
There you go.
Sheets is not going to shoot. He's just going to pass the shoulder. You're going to ride. Mark's going to tell me how wrong I am again.
I'm not saying you're wrong. I just think Kennedy, it's going to be another one of those matches. Kennedy's going to be in your face for 7 minutes. He's going to put pressure on you, head snaps. I don't think Sheets has seen that type of pressure yet this year because even David Carr doesn't spend a lot of time on the head. He's so quick getting to the legs. So it's a different style of wrestling. But Kennedy, he's been able to get in. He's been able to finish on really good kids. Sheets is a really good kid, loves to scramble. But I'm going to take Kennedy by a decision.
Yeah, I'm going to take Kennedy by a decision. I think he's just a really good gamer type guy. I think he's going to be close. I think Sheets is also like a very seasoned vet, but I think he's not going to have. I think Kennedy just ekes it out. I think it's like a 3-2 match or something like that. Just a lot of good scrambles, probably not a lot of points, but I think Kennedy pulls it out.
All right, 74, Nelson Brand. So it's interesting when you pull up the wrestle stats. He doesn't have very many matches.
No.
He is 5-4. but his 4 losses are 3-1, 2-1, 3-2, 2-1 to Rocky Jordan, Edmund Ruth, Mikey Labriola, and Carter Starace. So 2 of those losses really don't count. I mean, like...
Well, they count,
No,
yeah.
but I mean, like, in terms of seeding, they don't hurt him.
True.
Okay, Edmund Ruth was undefeated forever. The problem is the highest ranked guy he beat is MJ Guyton. So, and when you look at these schedules, Iowa's wrestled a lot less matches than Oklahoma State has.
True.
So Plott started off ripping and running, was undefeated. We had talked about on the podcast he could actually probably get the number 2 seed at Nationals because Labs and Starace were going to have to wrestle each other.
Yep.
Plott could have had the conference title and the perfect record. He loses to Aaron Olmos from Oregon State, and then loses to Mako, who he had beaten every time, and then loses to DeVos. So he has good wins. He beat Broderson, he beat Runyon, and he ran through the first half of the year. I mean, he beat Bailey O'Reilly. That's a pretty good win. So you're first here, Mark.
Normally I would pick Plott, but I'm going to go with Brands, and the only reason is Plott's lost 3 of his last 4 matches that he's wrestled, if I'm not mistaken, and I think it's hard to wrestle at Carver. So I'm going to go Brands by a decision.
I feel like when we look at the final team scores, yours is going to be way one way, mine's going to be way the other way, and GT's is probably
Mine's going to look a lot like Hardell's did, but the opposite.
Okay, GT's is probably going to be right. Go ahead, GT.
I'm going to take Plott by a decision, but I think because Brands has been keeping it really close with almost everybody, I think that, I think Plott, even though he's lost probably 3 of the last 4, he looked really good in the Bedlam duel.
Yeah.
So I think he's kind of maybe righted that ship a little bit, and I think, once again, I think it's going to be another tight match, maybe like 5-4, 3-2, something like that between those 2 guys, because they're both extremely talented kids. But I just think Plott might get it, just to keep the duel interesting and
Sidebar,
close.
do I look any smarter when I'm stacking my papers?
Yeah, 100%. You look way better that way.
I'm taking Plott. 1, I think he's better, and 2, Robert Plott is an awesome guy. Took care of me in junior duels several years ago, so shout out to him. But I guess I'm friends with Nelson Brand's father, too.
Yeah.
So, okay. All right, 184. Do we know if Assad is wrestling?
We do not.
Yeah, we don't know.
If Assad is wrestling, he has lost to Marcus Coleman this year and Tyler Dow in that pin. He's beat Lenny Pinto, beat Berge. Those are really his high-level wins. Whitlake has made the move up from 2 weight classes. He lost to Isaiah Salazar, lost to Trey Munoz, and lost to Matt Feinsilver. But he's beaten Colton Hawks. He's a guy that he beat Penner, but he beat Samuelson. Samuelson's his best win. So I'm just going to chicken out here. Actually, you're first. So what?
I'm taking Whitlake by decision.
I'm going to take Whitlake by decision if he wrestles Assad, and I'm going to take Whitlake by major if he doesn't wrestle Assad.
There you go. Yep.
Just because I don't know who I was going to wrestle, I'm going to take Whitlake.
Okay.
And Assad hasn't wrestled for almost a month now, so I have no idea. It's tough to come out against somebody like Whitlake right out when you haven't wrestled for a while and perform. I think it's going to be a good match. If Assad does wrestle, I think it'll be real close. So I give him a shot at winning if he does show up.
All right, Jacob Warner and Luke Serber. Jacob Warner, your returning national runner-up. He lost to Younger Bastida. He lost to Zach Bronigal. He lost to Max Dean. He lost to Michael Foy. He beat Colby Franklin, beat Wyatt Volker. He's another guy that has, and he lost to Rocky Elam, even though it doesn't count in the All-Star meet. So he doesn't have a ton of high-level wins, but we know how good he can be on his best 3 days. You know what I mean?
Yep.
So legit. Serber, he went down from 285 to 197. So probably a little bit of body acclimation. Lost to Michael Beard, lost to Michael Foy, lost to Jackson Smith, lost to Tanner Harvey, also lost to Bastida. He also lost to Tanner Sloan, and clearly the big win for him was he beat Rocky Elam.
Yep.
And he looked good doing it. Now, I mean, I'm fairly close to the Missouri program, and Elam was coming off injury, but he beat him fair and square. No controversial calls, no referee missed something. No, I got you in neutral fall danger 3 times kind of thing. Like, he scored more points and won more wrestling positions.
Yep.
So I'm torn on this one. I'm going to pick Warner because it's in Iowa. But Serber's got a lot of confidence right now. I think this match versus like if they had wrestled in December or November, will be a harder win for Iowa than it is right now. Because it feels like Serber's trending up and Warner's trending down a little bit.
And I agree with you. Warner has not wrestled up to where we thought he'd be at this time of the year. But, second at Nationals last year, you got to think that, he's gearing it up. I'm going to take Warner by a decision. I'm thinking 3 or 4 points.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll take Warner. I mean, once again, inside Carver for the last time. I think he shells out. I think he comes ready. I think he's ready to go. I still think that he wins by decision. I still like Serber at that weight class as kind of a dark horse kid that you never really know what you're going to get, and he's just kind of continues to trend up.
Yeah.
So once again, having Warner at home, I'm taking that all day.
Yep, I agree. And I also think Warner's a guy who might be the 10 or 12 seed at Nationals, and he's not anybody you want to see if you're like the 5 or the 7.
Yep.
All right,
Yep.
Heavyweight, Tony Cassiope. So he was undefeated all year and then lost to Kirkfleet and lost to Mason Paris. But if there's such a thing as a good win, the Mason Paris win was really good, 9-7. He has beaten Sam Schuyler, who's just beat Zach Elam. He beat Lucas Davison, which is a really good win. He beat Hilger, which is a good win. Really only had one, not like a bad match, but he lost to Kirkfleet fairly convincingly. Connor Doucette, with the departure of Ferrari and Serber coming down, he becomes the guy. Started out pretty good, lost to Joels in the duel, lost to Heinzelman. He flipped the Heinzelman decision. Did something really smart in that duel, by the way. He rode Heinzelman out in the overtime and then picked neutral, which is really smart.
Yep.
Because instead of having to do something, now the other guy has to do something. So really high level. But he's lost 4 of his last 6. He lost to Tyrell Gordon, Mason Paris, Zach Elam, and AJ Nevels. I think you're first here.
I'm going to go with Big Tony. I think it'd be a decision. Normally I would give Tony, but this guy's wrestled. Everybody's wrestled. He's only lost by 1 or 2, 3 points. So he's kept everything fairly close. So I'm going to go Cassiope decision. I think my final score is 26-6, Iowa.
GT, where are you going into this? I know you're doing math.
Okay, so after Whitlake's decision, it gets close, 15-13.
Which way?
Iowa's still up 15-13.
And you have him winning the last 2.
And then I have them winning the last 2 and Tony by a major.
So you have 22-13.
22-13, University of Iowa.
I'm picking Cassiope. I didn't do all the math.
But I think you picked Oklahoma.
But I'm going Cowboys.
Oh my gosh. That's. Did you just pew pew pew? I don't think there's anybody in Stillwater. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, we got to get a little shotgun action rather than.
Is that better?
Pew pew.
All right, so listen, it's about 1 o'clock. I think the Nebraska-Arizona State duel is going to start at 1:30 here, and then Carver Hawkeye 3:30. We want to thank Hawkeye Wrestling Club, Chad Beatty, Joe's Place, all the people at USA Wrestling, the man, Bill Gockel, for getting us on the air.
Absolutely.
For the Sage, for the best hair in the business, I'm the Panda, signing off. Thank you, guys.